It seems everyone obsesses over processors and graphics cards, but they forget the storage that actually makes your PC feel fast. The truth is, a slow drive creates a bottleneck no GPU can fix. That's why we are breaking down the top 5 best NVMe SSDs available. From budget-friendly Gen 4 speedsters to absolute Gen 5 monsters, we'll help you find the perfect upgrade. And as always, you'll find the links in the description. Let's begin. Let's kick things off at number 5 with what I consider the best value option on the market right now, the Lexar NM790. If you want to max out your system's potential without hitting hard on your wallet, this is exactly where you should start. While it's often categorized as a budget-friendly drive, the performance specs tell a completely different story. I say that because this PCIe Gen5 NVMe drive hits blistering speeds up to 7,400 megabytes per second read and 6,500 write. That is essentially pushing the Gen 4 interface to its absolute limit. Now, here's the interesting part. It achieves this while being DRAM-less. Usually, lacking onboard DRAM is a major compromise, but Lexar gets around this by using the efficient InnoGrit IG5220 controller paired with host memory buffer 3.0 technology. This clever tech allows the drive to borrow a tiny bit of your system's RAM to manage data, keeping everything snappy. The result? You get roughly 1 million IOPS, which makes multitasking and launching apps feel instant. It's also a stellar pick for gamers. It's fully PS5 ready, and with those sequential speeds, load times in heavy AAA titles drop significantly. Plus, the single-sided design is highly power efficient, consuming about 40% less power than many competitors, which makes it a fantastic upgrade for keeping laptop batteries alive longer. But here's the thing you need to keep in mind. While it handles 4K video editing and gaming effortlessly, that DRAM-less design might lag slightly behind top-tier enthusiast drives during massive, sustained professional transfers. Also, it can run warm when pushed hard, so I'd strongly suggest ensuring you have a heatsink installed. Still, with a solid 1000 TBW endurance rating, this drive is an undeniable powerhouse for the price. Next, we have the crucial P510, and this is where we take a serious leap into the future. If you are looking to break the speed limits of the previous generation without waiting years for technology to mature, this drive is your gateway into the PCIe Gen5 era. Let me explain why that matters. While top-tier Gen 4 drives max out around 7,400 megabytes per second, the P510 utilizes the newer PCIe Gen5 X4 NVMe 2.0 interface. This allows it to push sequential read speeds up to a staggering 10,000 megabytes per second, with write speeds trailing right behind at 9,500. Under the hood, it is powered by the flagship Phison E26 controller paired with high-quality TLC NAND. That specific combination is crucial because it balances raw velocity with durability. It translates to virtually eliminating loading screens in AAA titles and handling massive 8K video rendering or heavy AI training workloads without a hint of stutter. But here is the thing you need to know about Gen 5 technology. It produces heat, a lot of it. That is why this model is essentially designed to work with a heatsink, which is often included. Honestly, you are going to need it. Without proper thermal management, these drives throttle performance quickly to protect the hardware, so I definitely would not recommend shoving this into a super thin laptop where airflow is restricted. You also have to consider your current setup. To actually get those 10 gigabytes per second, you need a motherboard that supports PCIe Gen 5. It is backward compatible, sure, but plugging this into an older slot means you lose nearly half the performance. However, for those with a modern rig, the P510 offers incredible future-proofing. With an endurance rating of 1200 TBW on the 2TB model and a 1.5 million hour MTBF, it is built to handle that intensity for the long haul. Coming in strong at number 3, we have the WD Black SN8100. Now you might think you have seen fast, but this drive essentially redefines what performance looks like. While previous drives were just breaking the 10 gigabyte barrier, the SN8100 pushes the absolute theoretical limits of the PCIe Gen5 X4 NVMe 2.0 interface. I mean, we are talking about jaw-dropping sequential read speeds of up to 14,900 megabytes per second. That is practically double the capability of the best Gen 4 drives. The write speeds are just as impressive, clocking in at 11,000 megabytes per second. Think about it this way. This isn't just for loading your favorite AAA games instantly, although it certainly does that by virtually eliminating loading screens. WD is actually positioning this beast specifically for the era of AI. If you are a creator working with massive datasets or training AI models, having that flagship Phison E26 controller paired with high-quality TLC NAND means your workflow won't face any bottlenecks. It handles 8K video editing and complex rendering without even breaking a sweat. Plus, with a 1.5 million hour MTBF and a 5-year warranty, it is built to survive that kind of punishment. But here is the catch you need to prepare for. When you push data this quickly, things get physically hot. The SN8100 generates significant thermal output, meaning the included heatsink isn't just a nice bonus, it is an absolute necessity. If you try to run this raw without active cooling, thermal throttling will hammer your performance almost immediately to protect the hardware. That makes it a tough sell for ultra-thin laptops. You also need a compatible Gen 5 motherboard to actually see these speeds. If you plug this into an older slot, you're leaving a massive amount of performance on the table. However, for those building a future-proof workstation, this drive is a monster never to be overlooked. Sitting comfortably at number 2 is a drive from the brand that has practically defined high-performance storage for years, the Samsung SSD 9100 PRO. While other manufacturers are often just trying to hit peak numbers, I feel like Samsung is focused on perfecting the entire ecosystem. We are looking at a PCIe Gen5 X4 NVMe 2.0 interface that delivers a blistering 14,800 megabytes per second in sequential reads. But here is the part that really caught my attention. The write speeds. It clocks in at up to 13,400 megabytes per second. That is significantly higher than many other Gen 5 flagship drives, making it an absolute beast for write-heavy tasks. That performance is largely thanks to Samsung using their own proprietary Gen 5 controller, which has been specifically optimized for the modern era of AI computing and heavy workstation loads. So, whether you are training complex machine learning models, rendering 8K video timelines, or just want to virtually eliminate loading screens in next-gen games, this hardware is ready for it. Plus, with the massive 4TB capacity option, you actually have the headroom to store those gargantuan project files locally without constantly shuffling data around. It uses durable TLC NAND rather than cheaper QLC, which gives you that peace of mind regarding long-term endurance. With a mean time between failures of 1.5 million hours, it is clearly built to last. But you have to remember that this kind of power comes with a physical cost. High-performance Gen 5 drives run incredibly hot. You absolutely cannot run this bare. The included heatsink is essential because without it, thermal throttling will tank your speeds immediately to protect the silicon. It also consumes more power than previous generations, so it is not the best fit for battery-dependent laptops. However, if you have a compatible motherboard and good airflow, this is arguably the most polished and capable high-performance package available today. And finally, if you want the absolute best performance available today, I have to give the crown to the Kingston Fury Renegade G5. I say that because this drive doesn't just chase high numbers, it completely re-engineers how we look at speed. While other Gen 5 drives are fast, this one hits sequential read speeds of 14,800 megabytes per second, which matches the best. However, the write speeds are where it truly pulls ahead, reaching a staggering 14,000 megabytes per second. That is nearly symmetrical performance, which is incredibly rare in the storage world. But the numbers that really blew my mind are the random IOPS. We are talking about up to 2,200,000 input-output operations per second for both reads and writes. That is roughly double what many high-end competitors offer. It makes your system feel impossibly responsive, whether you are booting up, launching AAA titles, or training complex AI models. Here is the secret sauce. Unlike many rivals using the standard Phison chip, Kingston opted for the Silicon Motion SM2508 controller. It uses a 6 nanometers lithography process, which is significantly more efficient physically. They paired this with a low-power DDR4 DRAM cache and a dynamic SLC cache for stability. It gets even geekier, though. They built this on a 12-layer PCB design with an independent buck IC for power management. In simple words, this ensures superior signal integrity and better heat dissipation, keeping the drive stable even when you are hammering it with 8K video rendering or massive file transfers. Now, you do have to keep in mind that physics still applies here. Because this is Gen 5, it generates heat. So pairing it with a quality heatsink isn't just a suggestion, it is necessary to sustain those numbers. And naturally, this level of cutting-edge engineering commands a premium. But when you combine that 6 nanometers efficiency, the massive capacity options up to 8 terabytes, and the sheer reliability of the build, it stands in a league of its own. It is the ultimate, future-proof engine for your PC and a deserving winner of our top spot. Thanks for stopping by. If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe to Master Eye Tech for more tech content like this. Catch you in the next video.